What's up, everybody, and welcome to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm ArtistBoozey, and I like to get fun with art and creativity. So if you like that sort of thing, you should totally stick around. If you're not new here, welcome back! I'm glad to see you, and I'm glad you're clicking on my video to watch. In today's video, I'm keeping things a little bit simpler, and I'm going to try to teach you guys how to do a drawing because I think it'll be fun and exciting. I'm going to use some simple, cheap art supplies because you can seriously make art with anything. You don't need expensive stuff just to do anything artistic. So I got some Crayola colored pencils and some Sharpies, which I only got one because it'd be hard to hold a lot. But let's get into this video and get started, shall we? In today's video, I'm using some simpler art supplies like a pencil and an eraser, a cheap sketchbook, some Crayola pencils, and some Sharpies, a fine point, and a nib. Let's get into this, shall we? Alright, voiceover Boozey coming at you, and we're going to start with a square. So 4 lines, boom, 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 boom. There's square 1. Now we're going to go out from each of the corners, except for the last bottom left one, because we're actually not making a square, we're making a cube, but it starts as a square. We want to make them look a little bit 3D. So out from each corner, and then connect them. And then we're going to go out from this corner as well, and connect it to the next one. Boom, cube 1 done. Doing art, if you look at everything as a shape, it will make your life a whole lot easier. That's how I look at everything, as a circle, a triangle, a square. If you look at it as shapes and lines, it will help you tremendously. We're going in with another square. 3 lines this time. And we're going to go out from that corner and connect it to the other square to make it look like another cube. This will be blocks, like children's blocks, like in the game Rainbow Friends. There's blocks in it. I actually made this design in like less than 10 minutes at my work. I work in a gym daycare, and one of the kids wanted me to draw him Rainbow Friends, and I made up this design that says "Be Kind," and I thought it was really cool. And all the kids that come in, they see it hanging on the wall and they really like it, so I decided to do a tutorial on it and change it up a little bit on my channel. So we did a B and an E on each square, and now I'm going in very light-handedly. Sorry. I'm doing it very lightly, drawing in that so we can add color later, because if you know the children's blocks, there's color on the edges. And that's what I'm explaining here is light-handedly. If you're very heavy-handed, you don't want to hold the pencil at the end. You want to hold it at the top. And we're going in with another square. We'll be doing 4 more squares at the bottom. If I go too fast for you at any point in time in this video, please pause it, rewind it, do what you need to do. There's no hurry. I just go really fast sometimes in my drawing process, and I tried to really slow it down, but I know times will be a little bit too fast for you, so go ahead and just pause it and rewind it if you need to. I'm going out from each corner to connect it. If it helps you, you can pretend there's an imaginary dot in the middle of the blocks, and that's where I'm taking all the lines in. It's actually called a vanishing point. If you need help with that, that's what that's called, is a vanishing point. You have an imaginary dot, and you take everything to that dot so it looks like perspective. I feel like I'm a horrible teacher, but I'm trying my best because I thought it would be cool one day if I could be an art teacher or something. That'd be kind of cool. I didn't really like the shape of that square on the end, so I'm going to redo both of them. Just drawing squares. And then you draw the corners to connect. Again. And these blocks are going to spell out kind, so I'm going to put a K, I, N, D. Kind. Be kind. For some reason, I'm just really not liking this square, so I'm going to do it again. It's a little bit bigger this time. Erasing the D so I can put it in the center. And once again, I'm going to follow that corner back to the back to make it look like a cube. Now I'm doing a KIND upside down. And the squares are light-handed. Make sure you don't put a lot of pressure on your pencil when you do this part. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Side 1, 2, 3, 4. Side 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very important to make sure you do light-handed lines, because if you accidentally mess up and you go to erase it and you are very heavy-handed, it's going to be stuck there. Now we're going to start on blue, and we're going to start with his body. If you don't feel comfortable starting with his body, you can start with his head as a circle. Just a big circle at the top. I'm not very good at doing a perfect circle, so I just kind of rest my wrist and go in a circular motion, and then I erase it to make it look like a clean circle, if that makes sense. It's still more of an oval, but that's all right. Things don't have to be perfect. Bob Ross always said, happy little accidents, and I swear by that. Here's his arms, just little tiny little curvy noodles. And his eyes, 2 circles. And the right eye, you're going to do 4 dots and then an X to connect them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and connect with an X. And then his other eye is a simple circle. Now I'm working on his mouth, and I'm making this shape, and then I'm going to work on the drool that he has coming out of his mouth. So little water drops, boop, and boop. And now, blue is done. But I will say, I forgot to do his crown, and I do that more towards the end. Next up, we're going to start on green. Wipe off all your pencil shavings and go to the bottom of your page so we can start on green. We do a little swiggly line, like a crazy looking S, and then we follow it back down. And now it looks like we have a noodle on there. Now I'm working on his right arm. You're just going to do a little curve, a line, and another curve. Now we're doing some fingers. And I don't like the way my fingers look, so I'm going to redo them. If I'm going too fast, make sure to pause or rewind. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Make him a little arm and some fingers. And make sure your fingers go all the way down to the end, connecting to the line of the arm, like that. Now I'm going to work on the eyeballs, and it's 2 circles. We're going to start with 1 and 2. His eyes kind of come off of his head a little bit. There's our 2 circles, and we're going to do the same on the other side. There we go. Oh, my lead's trying to escape. Next up is green's mouth, and we're going to go with a diagonal line down and another diagonal line down below it. And next up is the teeth. You're going to do 3 triangles on the top and 3 triangles on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now I'm going to work on the tongue, and you just go out from that first tooth and do a little wiggly line, and then another wiggly line to the top of the second tooth. And you can erase the line from the face so it doesn't show through. And if you don't like the shape of your tongue, you can fix it, which is what I'm doing here. There, green's done. I'm just going in to fix the eye a little bit. Sometimes it looks a little sketchy. And this is purple. He's pretty easy. You go with a big circle. Circle for purple. That rhymes. He's got a big circle purple head, and you do little zigzag triangles. And then you go out for his body with a little round and another round for his arm. Pretty easy. And 2 big giant circle eyes. And then 2 circles in those. And then purple's done. Easy peasy. Next up is orange. We're going to start with like an upside down C. And go down, follow it down to make it a bigger shape. And this is going to be his bottom of his eyelid. You're going to follow it up with a circle. That makes his eyeball. Now I'm making the pupil of his eyeball. He kind of has like snake eyes or reptile eyes. Now we're going to make the second eyelid. Or no, my bad. That is the nose and the face. And this is the bottom of the mouth, so this would be the jaw. Just look at it as shapes and lines and follow what I'm doing, and you will have orange too. Now I'm doing a little C shape there for his arm. And then erasing the part of the body that shows through the arm. Now we have an arm. Now I'm working on his top teeth, which are a bunch of sharp triangles. More bottom teeth. And the other side of his jaw, and more teeth. Now his other eye. You're just going to make that shape and another eye. And now orange is done. Now I'm going to show you how to take your simple letters and make them into bubble letters. You just trace the letter on the outside and on the inside so that there can be a circle, and then you erase your lines. Now you just follow this. Boom, 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 boom. You trace the outside of the letter, and then you have a bubble letter, and erase the E. We're going to continue this for all the blocks. Tracing the K, and erase your inside lines. Now the I, and erase. I know I move kind of fast, so if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. The D, and erase. Now we got bubble letters. Why I almost say bubble buddies, like SpongeBob. Oh my goodness. Now our sketch is complete. The sketching part is done, so that's number 1. Now we're going to go on to step number 2, and that's outlining or inking. And before I ink, I'm going to take my eraser and lightly erase all the graphite off, but not enough to where we can't still see our lines. You just want to do this very lightly so you can still see your lines. See how you can still see it? But it takes a lot of the graphite off because the graphite can get into your pencil and it can jam it up and jam your ink up and things like that. So you're just going to go in and trace all your lines that you just did. Inking is so fun and relaxing and satisfying. And here is where I forgot to do the crown. So you just do 3 zigzags or 3 imaginary triangles. However your brain helps you see it. It's just a crown. Coloring in the eyeballs now. There's your 3 dots and your X's. And the mouth. And the drool, which I forget to color in the mouth, so I do that more towards the end. And now the arms. Inking is one of my favorite parts because you really don't have to think about it too much. Your sketch is already done, so you're just really following over what you've already done. It can be kind of intimidating for some people because once you put permanent marker on there, it can't be erased. But as long as you take your time and you really pay attention to what you're doing and you just do it patiently and calmly, it'll turn out perfect. And if it don't and you have a happy little accident, just embrace that and make it into the piece of artwork. It makes it one of a kind. Doing my bubble letters now. And as I ink, I'm not going to ink the square parts that we did light-handedly. I'm going to wait until I color it for that part. Two letters done, 4 to go. I didn't say also why you're inking. If you're doing this in a sketchbook, you might want to put a piece of paper underneath so that it don't bleed through to your next page. And if you're not really worried about it, you could just rip the other page out underneath. But if you have artwork under it, you just want to be careful because Sharpies do bleed a lot. I should have said that a long time ago, my bad. And you could have made these letters on the tops bubble letters too, but I didn't really want them to stand out. It's just a little detail I did. It's there, but I want the front ones to stand out more, so I did that more simple. A more simple approach to it. I know that my letters, well, not my letters, but my blocks on the top, like where the N and the D are, kind of look a bit long, but it won't look that long once I add the black shading in there. You can fix that with a little bit of shading and a little bit of tricks. Now I'm going to work on green, and I'm erasing again, just the graphite off, but to where I could still see the lines. Working in the eyeballs, and then the mouth, and the rest of the body. This is a bit longer video than I'm used to or you guys are used to. This is like a 52-minute video this time, which is something completely different for me, but I really want to share my tips and tricks and things I've learned over the years. It might be useful to one person, and if it helps one person, that will make my day. Everybody always asks me, how do you draw so good? How do you do that? And I haven't always been good at art. I've had some really bad artwork in years leading up to now. It took me a long time to get good, and a lot of watching YouTube. I taught myself from YouTube because I didn't get to go to college. Things didn't work out. I got accepted into my favorite school, and it was one of the best ones around my area. And some things happened and I couldn't get the funds to go through and everything. And then I was really depressed for a while, but I didn't let it stop me. I just kept pushing and I was determined to learn. And I learned everything I know off of YouTube videos and watching my favorite artist. You could watch a video of somebody and learn things without even realizing you're learning. It's actually kind of crazy, the things we soak up and we take in. That's why I always say in my videos, if you put in the time, if you put in the practice, you can be the best at what you do. You just gotta put in the time and the work. We're almost done with the inking stage already. And if I went a little too fast and you're still working, that's perfectly fine. Just pause until you're ready for the next part. Look at them sharp little dagger teeth. Ready for a snack. A little snacky snack. Working on his arm now. He's got little tweezer arms, pinchers. And now it's inked. I'm also going to color in the eyes though with the Sharpie, because if you color it in with colored pencils, it'll look a little weird. Just color in them eyeballs. Not too much longer and we'll be coloring. And with the letters, like the Be Kind, you can either color it any color you want, or you can color the letters black. You don't have to do everything the way I do it in this video. You can be unique and put your own touch on it too. And after all the inking is done, I like to go in really, like with a lot of pressure. Not too much to where you rip the paper, but enough pressure to get all that graphite off and all the pencil lines. You don't want any of that to show through. Then wipe all your eraser shavings off of there. And if you got this far, you should really pat yourself on the back, because look at this. We just made our own pretty much coloring page. You know, like a coloring book? We just made one. We made our own coloring page. How cool is that? Now I'm going to use Crayola colored pencils. If you don't have Crayola colored pencils, you can use crayons, markers, any kind of colored pencils you have. It doesn't matter. Art supplies are art supplies. Anything that'll make some colors is perfect. I went in with light blue for his drool. And the way I color is I just go in circular motions until everything's covered in. Like all of it's covered with color. Now I got yellow for the crown. You don't have to do yellow if you don't want to. You can make blue purple if you want. You can do whatever colors you want. This is your piece of art. You could do it however you like. You could even add things to it if you like. One of my daycare kids actually added a whole background to his. It was pretty awesome. Mr. Theo. Now I'm going in with a darker blue for his body so that it separates from the drool. Just going in with those circular motions, and I know I'm kind of going fast right here. Just making sure everything is covered. I don't want any white spots. You can apply pressure if you want to. I kind of do have a little bit of pressure, but with Crayola, it's not the same as Prismacolor. I'm used to using Prismacolor, and with my Prismacolors, I like to press kind of hard. With these, I'm just kind of doing like medium pressure, so it's not super light. It's saturated. Sorry, I have to clear my throat. I picked the perfect time to do a long video. I've been sick for like a week, coughing, and I'm starting to lose my voice. Every time I need to film a voiceover, something crazy happens and I lose my voice or my throat hurts or something. Something's always going on with me. I'm just going over to make sure everything's smooth and it looks nice and blended and flat, not like any white sections or spots. And then we can move on to the body. Make sure to let me know who your favorite character from Rainbow Friends is down in the comments. I'd love to know. I know I didn't get all the characters on this sheet. Only 4. This was actually pretty fun to do. I've never really taught anyone how to draw before, and I just wanted to give it a try. I know I'm not the best explainer, so we'll see how this video goes, and if anybody likes it, I hope someone does. I hope I'm giving this design justice and helping you guys draw it. We're about halfway done now with blue. And as you can see, I forgot to color in his mouth. I'll go in with a Sharpie later and do that. Now blue's covered in and we can move on to the next thing, which is purple. I'm working on purple next. Just coloring them in purple. This is probably the easiest character to draw from Rainbow Friends because he's just a big circle. Then you just color them in purple, but make sure that those little spiky triangle things you see right down there by my pinky, that you don't accidentally color those in. They're supposed to be white. And the same with the whites of his eyes. His head's almost colored all the way in. Woohoo! Now we get to color in his body and his arm. Easy peasy. And this part is one of my least favorite parts of coloring is the corner of the page because it's hard to hold it down. I have kind of fat, short fingers, and to hold the edge of the page down is hard, so my pencil always gets caught on the edges and makes a mark on my next page, and it makes me so furious. And purple's done. Now on to the next, and that will be green. I'm going in with the light green. It's more of like a limeish green, slime green. I don't know what you want to call it. The lighter one, and I'm just going crazy and coloring him in with the lime green. I think it's actually called yellow green, maybe. Coloring his fingers, coloring those fingers in his arm. I don't know why, but when I draw him and I draw him in this shape or whatever, it kind of reminds me of them things at like car dealerships or whatever that blow in the wind. And he's like, hey, I'm here, guy. Color in the left fingers and the arm. I feel kind of boring at this part because I'm not really sure what to talk about. I told you that I color in circular motions and I told you the colors, so now I'm just kind of like, what do I talk about, man? I don't want to bore you to death with the sound of my voice. All that's left is the bottom of his body and his tongue. And his tongue will be red. If I'm moving a little too fast for you, remember to pause the video or rewind. And I know I've said that like 4 other times. I just want to make sure that y'all don't get mad at me for coloring too fast. I get ahead of myself sometimes. I'm a very quick colorer, my bad. Now grab your red and color that tongue in. Very nice. Very, very nice. Now we're going to go ahead and color orange, and you grab your orange colored pencil and color them up. This design, I actually have problems drawing just without looking at anything, so I actually looked at Google. I looked up each of the characters, like Rainbow Friends orange, Rainbow Friends green. Well, first, the kid that wanted me to draw this for him wanted blue, and I started with blue. And then I actually did add the blocks on my own. I was really proud of myself for coming up with this design somewhat on my own. Then I added the blocks and I was like, oh, there's more room at the bottom so we can add a character in the middle. And then I added green and then I said, who do you want next? And he said purple and then he said orange. So one of my daycare kids actually helped me really design this other than the Be Kind blocks. I just added those on my own. Because it was just blue all by himself. So this design kind of came together pretty quick, pretty easy, and I think it's pretty cool, and I hope you guys like it too. This is very popular right now. I hear Rainbow Friends. I want to watch Rainbow Friends video all the time, and when they see this picture hanging on the wall, because I've drawn this a few times for a couple daycare kids now. Because I did one for that kid, and then I drew it again and hung it on the wall, and then I drew it for another boy, and he made his own stuff on it, so I've drawn it quite a few times now. And it's one of everybody's favorites at the gym, at my work, so I was like, why not? Let's do it for the YouTube video and try to teach some people how to draw. That'll be pretty cool. Give it a try. Now we're going to go in with the blocks and add them some color. And you want to be very light-handed for this. No heavy handers. I'm going to go in with yellow really lightly on all the edges where we did those light-handed squares, only on the edges. Only on the edges. Only on the edges. See how I'm going in on the edge? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Going in very light-handedly so it doesn't look like a harsh line, and it kind of just looks like there's a little bit of pastel colors on there. I kind of wanted it to look pastel-y, but I don't know if I really accomplished that look once it's all said and done. I also wanted to go in with the thin line Sharpie and do like little tiny detail lines like where the yellow is, but I didn't. And here I'm coloring in the B yellow. I ended up coloring in all the letters of the color I did the blocks. If you don't like that, you don't have to do that. You could actually color it in black with the Sharpie if you like that better. But I just decided to go in with this, with the colors. Thought it would be cool. Now I'm using orange. And if you don't want to do yellow and orange for yours, you could do different. I wanted to do a pink block, but I didn't have pink, so I ended up going with red too. But right now I'm using orange. And you want to be very light-handed on the edges. I know I said that, but I just want to really make sure you execute that light touch. You'll thank me later. It's just so smooth. And then you can be heavy-handed when you do the letter because you want that to really stand out. See how like the E is dark but the edges are very light? That's what I wanted. That's the look I was going for. Next I'm going to use light green. Going with light green on K. Going in very, very, very soft. Soft pressure. Under pressure. Sorry. That's a very old song by Queen. I'm kind of doing circular motions, but very light-handedly, so it kind of looks like it's just a little light shading. And I didn't do a whole lot on this edge because, as you can see, the eye's kind of in front of the K, so you wouldn't see a whole lot of the shading on there. I'm going in with a little bit heavy pressure now on the letter because I want it to stand out. And K's done. Now I'm going to go in with light blue. It's all the same steps on all of these. It's starting to really come together. Only 2 more letters left. 2 more blocks after this. And don't second guess yourself. If it doesn't look just like mine, it's okay. It don't have to be perfect. Don't give up on yourself. I know when my sister does these videos, she gets really discouraged and she starts crying and gets upset and beats herself up, but you just got to keep pushing through the drawing and just keep trying. Don't give up. This is where I'm going to go in with red, and I really wanted to do pink, but there wasn't a pink colored pencil in this version, and this is the only Crayola colored pencils I have. I ended up donating all my old ones because I like Prismacolor now. But you're never too good to get out the Crayolas. They're the real OG. Just going in my circular motions with a little more pressure. One more to go. We're almost there. You should be really proud of yourself. This is purple. It kind of looks like black. I don't know why, but it's purple. And the last side. Shading that last side. Finishing touches. And there you have it. Be kind. Check that out. These next few steps, you don't have to follow these next steps, but you can if you want. This will just give it an extra, I don't know. I'm going to go in with shading. As you can see here, I'm using orange on the crown to give it a little bit of shading. It's kind of cut off so you can't really see, but I'm just following some of the edges to give it some shading. And then I'm going to take in purple under the arms. You do not have to do these steps. You do not have to do the shading. If it's a little too advanced for you, don't stress yourself out and do it. You do not have to. I'm just going in and going in my circular motions and trying to add a little bit of shading with purple. And if you go in a little too hard, you can take blue and you can go in your circular motions and kind of blend it in after you're done doing the shading. I think it just gives it that extra oomph, and I love to shade, and it just gives it a nice touch. So if you feel like doing this, feel free to follow along exactly what I'm doing. Just going in along the edge with purple now, underneath the arms, because there would be a shadow underneath his arms, and yeah. Just doing my circular motions, and then I'll go in with my dark blue that I colored his body in and circular motion over that just to blend it in a little bit better. Now I'm going in underneath the neck because there would be a shadow there too. Awesome. Going with the blue. Just blend it all in nicely. Gives it a little bit smoother of a texture. Get it nice and smooth. Now I'm going in with black very, very, very lightly on purple's arm and underneath his neck scarf thing. You definitely don't want to go in too dark with the black because you will never get that out. Now I'm going in and smoothing it out with purple. And there you have it. He's done. A little bit of an extra pop to him. Now I got dark green. It's probably just considered green. It's darker than the yellow green. I'm going to go in and just where his arms connect, give him a little shadow there. And another shadow on the other side. Gives it a little bit of depth. Makes it look nicer. Did it on his fingers too, only on one side of the finger. And I also went in with his head very lightly on the edges of his head. Because it just looks so flat. I wanted to give it a little bit of depth and make it look more like a 3D shape. Just want to do it very lightly. Not heavy at all. Because then your whole character is going to be dark green. With orange, I used red. In just a few tiny spots. And the red wasn't showing up, so I went in with black. But remember, if you use black, you gotta be super light-handed. Because since black is the darkest, it's hard to hide it. Especially on orange or a lighter color. Now I'm just blending it in with orange. Blend, 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 and blend some more like your life depends on it. And there all the characters are shaded in. Now we're going to start on the blocks. I'm going in super light-handed with black underneath all the letters where the shading would be, and I just follow them squares. I'm just following the lines and adding dark shadows. And you'll see this change tremendously with just a tiny little bit of shading. It's crazy. And as I get closer to the line, you want to be a little bit more heavy-handed, a little more pressure. And as you get closer to like the front of the block, you want to get lighter. So you got to really learn how to control your pencil and your pressure. If you don't feel completely confident, I would practice on another piece of paper because you have to be able to control how much pressure you're doing to get the look you desire. Because as you can see, it kind of looks like a gradient. It's like really dark and then it's fading, and that's because I'm controlling the amount of pressure I'm using. Very dark pressure towards the back and lightening it up as the front, you'll see. And I'm just going to my circular motions to try to get it into the grain of the paper softly. I'm going to do the same on this block where blue would be, adding a little bit of shading. Because the E block is behind the B, so the B block wouldn't have too much shading, but the E one would because the B would have a shadow on the E one, if that makes sense. And the I block is in front of the K and the N, so the K and the N will have shading, but the I will not on the front face of the block. And you can see this is already changing dramatically with just a little bit of easy shading. And I say easy, some people will think this is very hard, but if you can learn how to control your pressure, you will be set for everything. Trust me when I say that. See how it just breaks them up? And so the N is in front of the D block, so you're going to want to add shading to the D block on those sides. And obviously all the blocks will have shading at the top that's touching the other block because the B and the E blocks are on top, so that's why there's shading on all of them. And there you have it. Changed dramatically. I also added a little bit of shading on here because I wanted that front face of the block to be just like the focus point. So I kind of went in and shaded some of this here too, but very lightly because there's nothing that would be really adding shade to it. I'm doing the same to these because I want the front blocks to draw your attention more than the ones on top that I didn't add a whole lot of detail into because they're just for looks. So I'm kind of darkening them up a little bit so that your eye goes straight to the front facing ones. And there we have it. Here's where I forgot to do the mouth and I'm coloring it in, and then after that all you have to do is sign it and it's yours. Good job guys if you got this far. If you didn't, don't beat yourself up. You still did a great job. Rome wasn't built in a day. And this is the final results. If you like Rainbow Friends, let me know down below, and if there's not a Rainbow Friends character that I didn't do and you would have liked to see, let me know. And if you like this sort of video of me kind of teaching you and giving you tips on how to draw something, comment down below what you would like to draw and maybe you'll see it on my channel. Maybe we'll make this a new thing. And thank you so much for watching my video, and if you like, please come back sometime. Maybe like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.